Hey you guys, welcome to a somewhat emotional raising vibrations through recovery. I am the host of this particular podcast and I am Silence. Oh, look at the bunny rabbit. I'm at the park, you guys, and I just shot a video or recorded a video for YouTube and my Facebook platform. I am Silence and welcome to this particular platform. I want to send a special shout out to all of my individuals in the world that are dealing with addiction and or the non in silence. The point is you're in silence and you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with. Satan is going to continue to attack you at all angles, and you have to be strong enough to fight his temptations mentally, physically, and some of everything else. Satan is very glib, and he will do everything possible to get you to line up along with the rest of the individuals whom willingly and unwillingly are lined up to pretty much enter into the pits of hell. Just remain strong, you guys. Any amount of your guys' positive energy shown on all platforms created by me are always welcomed. And with that being said, let's get into this episode starting momentarily. Alright, you guys, thank you all for joining Raising Vibrations through Recovery. 1 second. 2:44 time of this recording. Anyway, I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to refrain from effects and all of that stuff because I want not only myself to take this podcast or this episode seriously, I want you guys to take it seriously as well. Anyway, I want to thank my newest followers and the individuals that are downloading my episodes. There was a point where my numbers were completely down, and I understand why. I wasn't being as active on the platform, and the old direction is not the direction that I wanted to move forward with in regard to all of my platforms. This is one reason why I started tearing down old temples in regard to my YouTube platform, and I continued on with Facebook and here on Podbean and with my life in general. 3:55 time of this recording. Anyway, you guys, it has been some challenging times for myself, and I'm going to say starting yesterday, Satan really, really has been playing with my mind, body, and spirit, more or less my mind than anything, because Satan knows how to get to us through the mind. And 4:22 time of this recording, and yesterday, I went to a 12-step meeting for fellowship and to hear the Wednesday night speaker. I picked up a fellow brother / sister in regard to attending the meeting with me, or they asked if I could pick them up, and I obliged and picked them up, and we went together. It wasn't until after the meeting is when Satan started playing games. As I'm taking the individual home, they received a phone call, and I shared this via video not that long ago that I recorded for YouTube and Facebook, and I was very emotional in the content. And before I continue on, I want to encourage you guys. I'm not sure if there's a fan club here on Podbean or not anymore. I do know that what I uploaded for you guys, I don't see anymore. So I'm not sure what further changes they're making to the platform, but I don't see those anymore. So I encourage you all to follow me on Facebook. I am Silence Recovery with the Invisible on Facebook and YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. And if you so choose to, I would gladly appreciate your support, not only on here, but on those platforms as well. Anyway, as I'm taking the person home, they received a phone call, and I hear on the opposite end of the phone the voice of a man, and the voice was very deep sounding, and the person just sounded good. The person that I was taking home is a gay man themselves. Not that has anything to do with it, but it may have been different if the person was a damn lesbian, but they weren't. It was a gay man, or it is a gay man. Anyway, 6:33 time of this recording. Anyway, I'm hearing snippets of the conversation, and the person, for the life of them that I was taking home, tried their best to conceal the conversation. And I won't say what they were talking about, but it almost felt, courtesy of the energies that were coming over me, as if they were planning on hooking up and the person was about to relapse. And I'm alleging this, but it's just interesting how they kept over talking the person on the opposite end of the phone and saying various different things that just made me feel like, okay, something is about to go down and whatever else. But then I started feeling energies of being jealous and envious of their conversation. And for the lack of me, that wasn't me feeling that way. 7:33 time of this recording. It was Satan playing with my mind. You hear what they're talking to. They're talking to a man. They're about to get ready to hook up and yada yada yada. And I am today 91 days clean. And before I continue on, I have a couple of other episodes where my sobriety date fluctuates. It's not in chronological order. For the life of me, I wanted to upload content in regard to Regina Gazelle and or Regina Wells. I didn't want to wait in order to upload that tribute to her. So the other two episodes after that particular upload are going to say different sobriety dates, and that's okay. I mean, I'm 91 days clean today, 41 days clean from marijuana, and 91 days clean from methamphetamine. And I don't have to post anything in a chronological order because I'm not forced to be on social media like a lot of people feel like they have to be. But anyway, Satan was playing with my mind, and mind you, Satan could have waited until the person was nearly home in order for them to receive that phone call, and I wouldn't have to hear half of what I heard. So I'm listening to the person set up, their date or whatever the case may be, and they, in a glib fashion, turned the volume down so that I couldn't further hear the person on the opposite end, because they could have been talking about drugs or whatever. I'm just alleging this, but anyway, I pretty much felt a particular way because I haven't been with the scallywag since the beginning of my sobriety date. I haven't watched any porn. I haven't done any of that ratchet stuff that I would normally do under the influence of methamphetamine. And I want to. I'm not going to sit behind this microphone, 9:55 time of this recording, and lie to any of you guys that are listening to me. I want to relapse bad as hell. I want to pick up a scallywag and have all type of fun so bad. And once again, it's not fun, but this is what Satan is planting in my head. You're missing out on all the fun, blah, blah, blah. Even at the meeting yesterday, there were individuals that had relapsed, and these individuals continue to relapse since I've been going to the meeting, and I relapsed along the way too, but I just kept my mouth shut and I just didn't reveal a great majority of the time when I relapsed, but quite a few individuals that I don't want to say I know, but that I have been acquainted with at, this particular meeting had once again relapsed. And once again, even in the meeting, after these individuals admitted that, they relapsed after this long of sobriety, Satan, they had fun during relapse, blah, 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 blah. They probably got all type of dick and whatever else the case may be. And here you are, 90 something days clean and whatever else. Why don't you just go ahead and relapse like them? I mean, he was just planting so many different things in my head, and it didn't help while taking this individual home after the meeting, hearing the conversation at hand that they received, while I'm driving them, to their place of residence. Anyway, 11:44 time of this recording, I finally dropped the person home. They get out the car, and I was nearly in tears because I feel like I'm missing out. There has been so many different scallywags that I have passed up high as fuck on methamphetamine and whatever other drugs that they're high on. And me being a prey, when I do decide to prey upon, the weak, those have been plenty of opportunities for me to get high and do the most. But I chose otherwise. And it was eating at me. And where I dropped this individual off at, it's not the best area, but it's not the bad area either. It's not the best area or a bad area, but it is an area around where I dropped them off at, where a lot goes down in regard to scallywags, drug activity, and some of everything else. So I could have easily dipped those areas to find what I felt like I wanted, and that was a scallywag and drugs and all of that stuff. But I made it home, and I made it home drug free, and that was good enough for me to just make it home without any incident. And anyway, today I go to a Goodwill in order to do a little bit of shopping after getting my oil changed. And this Goodwill is in an area here in Arizona. I'll just say off of North 32nd Street and Greenway. It's pretty known for having scallywags in the area, drug activity, especially at the Circle K, not too far from this Goodwill. Anyway, I'm inside of the store shopping, and I notice a scallywag, the perfect scallywag that I would prey upon, sober and fucked up. Tattoos visible on the chest and in the shoulders, and slightly dirty, and just what I would want. And anyway, 14:22 time of this recording. Anyway, myself and this particular scallywag sparked up a conversation on a intermittent basis within the Goodwill. They're asking me, like, what's the color of the day, blah, 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 blah. And, I knew by demeanor and whatever else that they were, fucked up on drugs, primarily methamphetamine. Anyway, throughout my time shopping there, I kept my eyes on this particular scallywag just to see what they were doing, aside from probably stealing and some of everything else. Anyway, this scallywag was talking to another scallywag who you could tell was clearly fucked up on drugs. And Satan picked the perfect time for the scallywag that I kept my eyes on to release from his mouth what he did. I'm in, I think, the shirt aisle looking for some shirts to go with the pants that I scored, and the scallywag, not the one that I was keeping my eyes on, but the scallywag's friend was behind me in the other aisle. So the scallywag that I don't want to say liking, but that I was keeping my eyes on, came over to where we were and sparked up a conversation. Well, they were already talking, but he just came closer for them to, engage in shop and whatever else, engage in conversation and shop and whatever else. Anyway, the scallywag that I was keeping my eyes on told the other guy, and I wrote this shit down because I didn't want to forget what they said. And this may not be verbatim, but this is close to verbatim as it gets. They said when he woke up next to me and smelled me, he was all about it. And I'm thinking about those words that were released from this individual's mouth. And what he said could have meant anything. But, and mind you, he didn't say she. I didn't misconstrue anything in regard to what he said. He said when he woke up next to me and smelled me, he was all about it. What do y'all think that means? Especially my people of addiction out there. Especially my people of addiction in the gay community. What do y'all honestly think he meant by he woke up next to me and smelled me and he was all about it? Satan right then and there put the seed in my head that whoever woke up next to him and smelled him, just like me, there's a certain scent from scallywags that I enjoy, that musky, sweaty ball scent type scenario. It just makes me go crazy. Pheromones, even with animals, it makes the opposite sex go fucking berserk. And 17:33 time of this recording, I have a funny feeling that is what he was talking about. Somebody woke up next to him and smelled that musky ass odor, and before you knew it, they was all about it, and he gave up the dick. And if that didn't happen, that is exactly what Satan was planting in my head, is the scenario that went down. So I'm just thinking about those words, and I'm not able to get it out of my head. And at the same time, I'm looking at this scallywag and I'm just like, damn, I could easily ask him when he is away from everybody in the store, where's the G at? And what did you mean by what you said? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I can give you some good head, blah, blah, blah. Let's go get some shit. And I just quickly finished shopping and I got the hell up out of there because I knew the energies that were coming over me. And I ended up leaving that Goodwill and I went home because I had to, do the number 2. Not to tell too much business, but I had to do the number 2, and I'd be damned if I was going to, do that in the Goodwill's bathroom, considering. So I went home, I used the restroom, and I tried the clothes on that I bought, and one of the pants that I bought did not fit properly. So I wanted to take them back to the Goodwill, but before doing that, I stopped at another Goodwill that's more closer to my place of residence. And hold on one second. I'm trying to watch this car that keeps on circling around. And anyway, back to the recording. So I stopped at that Goodwill and I shopped, for a little while. And mind you guys, from the time that I stopped shopping at the first Goodwill where the scallywag was at until I went home, did the number 2, tried on the clothing, etc., that scallywag could have been gone, but Satan stayed there. Satan knew that I was coming back to that very first Goodwill on North 32nd Street and Greenway. He knew that I was coming back. He knew that them pants didn't fit me and I was going to return. So he lingered around until I got there. I get done shopping at the Goodwill closer to my place of residence, and then I decided to go back to that first Goodwill. I go inside. I don't see the scallywag. And I exchange the clothing for a Goodwill gift card or whatever, and I had $6 something on that card, and I figured I would just go ahead and spend it while I'm there. I am looking for a pillowcase because the other Goodwill closer to my place where I went shopping at, someone left a whole pillow in the Goodwill basket, even though you're not supposed to take those, baskets or buggies outside. The cashier was nice enough for the person to take it outside, and I guess they either left the pillow in the basket or they decided they didn't want it. So as I'm leaving out the parking lot, I seen it, and I'm like, well, hell, I reversed and I grabbed it and put it in the backseat of my car. So at the first Goodwill where the scallywag, was at, after getting the money placed on the gift card or whatever, I went to look for a pillowcase for that pillow and see what else I can find with a little, $6 something on the card. Anyway, as I'm looking around Goodwill, I believe at this particular point for the pillowcases, my eyes lock with that same exact scallywag. And it's clear as day, you are in there stealing because you got your backpack on and you were in here from the time I got in here and until that window in between, and you're still in here. You're obviously doing nothing but stealing and just lingering around. And the other scallywag that he was talking to, I didn't see them. So this let me know that this is clear as day a test from above and from below, more from below than anything. And we locked eyes, and I kept locking eyes with them, and I eventually scored what I wanted from Goodwill, and I ended up going to the cashier to pay for my items and get the fuck up out of there because certain energies were coming over me, and if I didn't get out of there, I knew that it would be detrimental to my sobriety. As I'm standing in the line, this scallywag gets behind me, and I'm just watching their demeanor, and I just knew that if they didn't have the drugs on them, they know where to get it. I pay for my items with the gift card. I walk out, and I am hearing the cashier help the scallywag. Mind you, as I'm walking out the Goodwill towards my vehicle, I'm just twisting my neck back and forth to see when the scallywag, would eventually come out. I put the stuff in my car, I get in, start my car up, and eventually the scallywag comes out. Like the predator that I was in the situation at that particular time, my eyes locked. And they did not come unglued in regard to the scallywag until I was able to see them. How can I say it? I just kept my eyes on them until they were away from the Goodwill and away from people and stuff like that in order for me to play with fire. Anyway, I reversed out of the parking lot quickly, and I get to a street which leads into the main road. So the scallywag goes up to the doors of a smoke shop, and they're 23:55 time of this recording. Anyway, the smoke shop was obviously closed because when they, pulled the door handles to go inside, the doors were locked. So they were standing there contemplating on their next move. And mind you, Satan kept people, places, and things away as I'm sitting in my car, waiting to enter into the main road. And I stood there. I was in my car at that particular spot for a minute. No cars pulled up or anything like that. And I just knew that Satan was keeping everyone clear to see what I was going to do. And mind you, the universe has eyes. So not only did Satan want to see what I was going to do, so did the invisible from above, and so did the world. And man, I was under a test in regard to all those forces. And before I knew it, 24:55 time of this recording, before I knew it, the scallywag was walking towards my way, and I said, "Hey, where the G at?" G, once again, is slang for methamphetamine. And they were like, "What's up?" And so they walked towards my vehicle, and mind you, Still, no cars are approaching to, exit into the main road like me. The coast is still clear for me to make the wrong decision, which thank God I didn't do. Anyway, they're at the passenger side of my car and we're conversing back and forth with each other. Where did you at? Oh, I know where to get it. My homegirl got it, maybe 4 blocks down the road or whatever. You want me to get in? And so many things were going through my mind at this particular point. Do I let them in the car? Once I let them in the car, the world is going to know what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. But I can get the drugs and, I can, start, preying upon them, and maybe I can get some dick and watch some good porn and blah, blah. I mean, so many things were going through my mind, and I'm contemplating, do I break my sobriety for a night of pleasure or whatever, which I'm pretty sure, long story short, I was just thinking of certain things like a gun being held to my head and me being under pressure to make the right decision, me being in an airplane and it's about to crash and my life is at stake, and me having to clear everything up with God and make right so that my soul can have a place in the kingdom. So many things were going through my mind, and I had a split decision. I had a split second or two in order to make whatever decisions I was going to make before traffic pulled up and before people started noticing what I was up to. Anyway, the scallywag mentioned something about the homegirl owns that smoke shop or whatever, and that was a plain giveaway right there. If your homegirl owns that smoke shop that you were trying to get into, then obviously the most is going down, probably in regard to drug exchanges and some of everything else. But anyway, 27:22 time of this recording. Anyway, it was taking me a while to make my mind up in regard to, do I relapse or don't I? And the scallywag, I believe, was getting impatient. And they, eventually told me their name and was just like, well, let me know as they're walking away. The power and, how can I say it? The powers of God and the protection of the white light energies, bright white light energies of protection came over me. And I heard my ancestors. I heard my grandmother. Even my cat came through. All of these invisible forces from above that have my back in regard to succeeding with this battle of addiction came through. And mind you, I ride around with my Bible and a couple of other influential books like The Soul as Healer, Lessons in Affirmation, Visualization, and Inner Power by L. Joseph Nichols. I recently bought a book from a Goodwill by Kenneth Boe and John Allen Turner, The 52 Greatest Stories of the Bible. And I have Daily Hope Devotional, 365 Days of Purpose, Peace, and Promise by Rick Warren. Those are the books that I pretty much ride around with as a shield or a barrier of protection in order to be there for me when I am going through temptations from Satan. The biggest thing, or the biggest spirit or voice or power, however, I really can't, I have no words for it, but Regina Gazelle or Regina Wells, whatever, she chooses to go by, she came through for me. And I told Regina, even though our bond wasn't as strong as I would have liked it to be, we kept that relationship going outside of the Lambda Center where we first met. And I told you guys this in the Hidden Gem that I met her at a Wednesday night's meeting, and it was her. She was chosen to be the guest speaker of that night. Anyway, Regina came through, and this is why I got so emotional on the recording for my YouTube and Facebook platforms. I heard her clear as day. tell me this is not what you want to do. And I don't want to get emotional again. But she told me, you don't want to do this. You're doing good for yourself. What you want to do is just drive off and do what you plan on doing. And that is spend some time with your vehicle, the same vehicle that kept you safe and warm during those cold nights of being homeless here in Arizona. You want to bond with your vehicle and watch her and continue on with your day. You do not want to relapse and just go down a rabbit hole. And I listened to Regina. I listened to all the invisible forces from above, but I listened to Regina because I heard her clear as day. I also envisioned her face, that huge smile, those big cheekbones, and those full cheeks and those powerful cheekbones, and lack of better words. I just seen Regina in front of my face telling me to go. And I listened. And at that point, the scallywag, pretty much had walked away from my car. And with the tear rolling down my face right now, I turned right, made it to North 32nd Street, and I turned left, and I went to the car wash, and I pulled into the spot, a spot, and I thanked Regina. And I thanked I'm sorry, you guys. I thank Regina and all of those invisible forces that kept me safe, even these books that kept me safe through that beyond hard temptation from Satan. Had Regina and the rest of the invisible from above not came through when they did, and had I not relied on the powers of silence, even though I was still being verbal with the scallywag, but while I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to relapse or not, I relied on those powers of silence to get me through. And I believe that is what frustrated the scallywag and caused him to walk off. But Regina, I can't thank you enough for still being that voice of reasoning in regard to the gay community, the black and brown community, and individuals that need to hear you when they are contemplating their sobriety. You came through for me, and I cannot thank you enough. And as I'm on my Facebook platform, still dedicating stuff to her on certain boards that I created, I failed to realize that Regina joined my one board, and it's called Black Voices of Addiction, Struggles, and something else. Regina was one of the individuals that joined that particular group. And but 33:44 time of this recording. But as I confessed in the recording that I did not that long ago before doing this recording, I'm only 91 days in, and I could have relapsed as of today. 41 days from marijuana, 91 days from methamphetamine. I could have easily threw all of that down the drain in regard to the methamphetamine aspect of it all, just for what Satan wants me to think is fun. It wouldn't have been any fun because I have a roommate, so there's and a nosy ass neighbor upstairs, so there's no way that I could have gotten away with wanting to enjoy freely watching porn and masturbating and doing all of this stuff. And more or less it's hot as fucking Arizona, so trying to drive around and find a place where I could play with the scallywag and all of this type of shit. I mean, did I really want to go through all of that and pull in the powers from that scallywag and the world after relapse? I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I would have endured everything that would have came with that relapse just to be with that scallywag. And I fought against it, and I remain clean and sober, you guys. I don't know if I'm going to, I don't want to say die alone, because I'll never be alone, because I have the invisible. But as far as a relationship, I'm sacrificing a lot for my relationship with God and my place in the kingdom. And I don't want to say if I can't be with a man, I'm not going to be with anybody. But I guess I am saying it, but if God does not want me to indulge in homosexual relationships and things like that because it goes against his words, then that's what I am going to do. And that's why it was so hard for me to listen to that conversation amongst the individual that I was taking home from the meeting yesterday, because I already knew what was going to go down with him. And the fact that I want to hook up with another man, I want to do drugs. And even if I'm not doing drugs, I still want to hook up with another man and have those engagements. But my relationship with God is so much more important. And my place in the kingdom is so much more important. And that eternal life in heaven is so much more important that I am sacrificing possibly a good relationship with the same sex. And I could possibly have a great relationship with the woman, bear a child and all of that. And God wants us to be fruitful. But I had a long conversation with God, and I was kind of angry at some things, emotional here and there about some things. And I just told God that I can't do it. I just want my relationship with you and the invisible above. And if that means sacrificing a relationship with any sex, so be it. I don't care. It's very important for me to, and like I told God, there was once upon a time in my life, and I remember this being very young, I couldn't stand him. I didn't want him in my life at all. And I know why, because the world that we all come from is a whole different world than the world that we are living in now. And the fact that I spiritually contracted to come here and be a part of this, I don't want to say bullshit, but I was just angry at the fact that I thought that I was adopted. I was just angry at a lot of things, and he was the primary focus of that anger. And I just want him to understand that I didn't want you in my life at one point in time. Now I am starving to have you in my life. And if that means not having a relationship with anyone, so be it. And I understand that he wants us to have community and all of that type of stuff. I'm even willing to sacrifice that, because I just want to focus on him. I focus on a lot of different things that led me astray, and I only have a specific amount of time to get this right. And I don't want to keep on focusing on stuff that keeps me away from our relationship. 38:55 time of this recording. But anyway, I'm going to end this because I've been in the world long enough, and I was thinking about going to a meeting tonight, and I still have time to go just for that fellowship or whatever. And I may just go just to get that fellowship and be around other individuals that are struggling, share how I'm struggling, and let that be the reason. But then again, I don't know. I'm just very undecisive about a lot of things, including this whole sobriety thing. But I'm just glad that I made it through in regards to the test. And thank you, Regina, for giving me that extra bit of courage, strength, power, and love, if I didn't say that, in order to make it through. And I'm going to share that with you guys that are still struggling out there. I'm going to give you what remaining energies that I have so that you guys can make the right decision, because I know Satan is in your ear and he is planting all type of things in your head that it's okay to go against God and relapse and do those things. but it's not okay. Put your hand in front of a burning flame and see how it feels the more that you reach towards that flame. It doesn't feel that good. And especially when your flesh interacts with that flame, hell no, it doesn't feel good. So imagine your soul burning. Wait, let me rephrase. Imagine your soul feeling that pain from that fire for eternity because you decided to make the wrong decisions for yourself. Do not allow Satan to tempt you into biting that apple that comes from the tree of evil, so to speak. Pick a different fruit. And with that being said, you guys have a good one. Happy and much love. One last thing before I decide to end this episode. The music that was included with the Regina Gazelle or Gina Wells tribute, it was temporarily blocked on YouTube for copyright issues. So I'm a little afraid here and there to upload music because I don't want anything to be blocked, considering the message behind everything. But this is not my music. This is courtesy of Amazon Music. I have no copyrights to it all. It's for entertainment purposes only and spiritual purposes as well. The artist is, I believe the song is Field of Green or Fields of Green. And the artist is So I Will 100 Billion X, or it could be vice versa. Either way, I will put this in the disclaimer and go from there. All right, you guys, y'all have a good one. Remain sober and take this mustard seed of faith that I'm giving you all and utilize it to get you through. Blessings.